All right, so let's keep our Totally Driven Radio show going here, and let's welcome for the first time Caesar. You're live on Totally Driven Radio. How you been, my friend?
All right, Bay. How are you?
Good, good.
Good.
Now,
Frank, how are you? I never met you, but how are you?
Now, you know what? I think you might actually know Frank. I said to Frank, I think you know Caesar, like from years and years ago, from back in the day, like the old days of the Bazaar.
Oh, boy. Maybe. I'm just thinking back as you say that.
It's possible. Like I said to Frank, I said, if you see him, I think you would know him. And I said to another friend of mine the other day the same thing. I said, because he was asking who I was having on the show this week, and I said you. And I said, dude, I'm pretty sure you probably know Caesar from back in the day. And I was like, you know what? He used to have a band back in the day that was really popular, and I couldn't think of it. So you got to tell me, what was that name of that band?
It was either Sonic Annihilation or Cyanide, I would guess. Violent Solution. Maybe that was the one.
Violent Solution.
That
was the one.
Yeah, I think that was one because I remember putting a lot of flyers up in the Bazaar, the Philadelphia Music Company, and all the places up there. The comic book store, what was it? Comic Universe, was that it?
Yeah, good old Comic Universe. Yeah, that's one of Frank's mainstays still today is Comic Universe on McDade Boulevard. So
okay.
He's got to know
now
each
that
other.
you said Violent Solution, I know exactly who you're talking about.
We had that little symbol with the little cat with the mask on. We had that little symbol. What was it? The logo with the ball with the spikes on it. I believe that was the logo.
Because, if you remember one time, I thought that would be a great name for a wrestling tag team.
Violent Solution.
There you go. There you go.
Wow. So it's been many years. And, one of the things that, I got to give Caesar credit, because Caesar still is plugging away to this day. I mean, we're talking about something that was over 20 years ago, and you're still, to this day, dedicated to the music, dedicated to your style of music, and you still have your heart and soul into it. So the first question I got to ask is, what keeps you going?
Well, I love the music, and you probably know that, Bay. I mean, I see you down at different shows. I saw you down at Quiet Riot and whatnot, but I just love the music. I'm a fan at heart. I go out, I buy everybody's CD. I'm not downloading everything. I'm still old school. I'm still out buying CDs. And, I love the music, and I have fun writing music and creating and performing. It's just, it's not about money or anything like that anymore. And the guys in my band will tell you the same thing. It's just that we have a great group of guys, and, we just enjoy doing what we're doing. I mean, any other thing that comes along is just an extra perk. We get to play a show with Accept or Anvil or something like that. It's just an extra, perk to us.
Yeah, and you guys, I mean, the one thing that really comes off big with you guys is professionalism. Like, it's not like you guys are just like a bunch of, kids getting together and just going and playing a couple chords. It's like a very professional, real deal. It's like you handle it like a business and professional, but yet you're still having fun at it. Exactly.
And I mean, the guys in the band have been around long enough. If we're not professional by now, we'll never be professional. So, I mean, and you're right. It's unfortunate, but it comes down to being a business, and you conduct yourself the right way, and you do get some opportunities thrown your way. I mean, so.
It's funny, too. I was talking with a buddy of mine yesterday, and we were talking about a local, one of the local cover bands. And a couple of the guys, they have side projects that are original bands. And he played in bands here and there through the years. And he went and jammed with some guys the other night. And he's married. He's got a bunch of kids, and he's doing the whole family thing. And he's not looking to do anything. He was just looking to have a jam for a night, just to get out of the house. And these guys afterwards were like, all right, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, we're going to do this. And he was just like, whoa, like, I'm not doing nothing. And he said, he was just like, these guys are 45 and older, but they still have, the mindset, they're going to be rock stars. They still think they're going to make that big break. And it's like, when's the time come for these guys to realize where you just said right up, look, I'm out, I'm having fun, I'm doing what I enjoy to do, I'm being creative, I love to create, and that's the ticket right there.
Absolutely, and it's funny, like when you were just telling that story, and you got all kinds of people like that out there, and you say the older guys, but even the kids. I mean, we play with bands, and sometimes the guys and girls, I should say, are in their 20s, and they have big ideas, and I mean, you hate to say it, but sometimes you just got to temper that a little for them. I mean, you're one band, and there's a million out there.
Right.
And there's probably a million doing exactly what you're doing as far as style or, I mean, you just got to look at it, I mean, realistically, I think, a lot of times. I mean, everybody in the band's either married or has been in a relationship for a long time. We have kids, we have time set aside for the band, and everybody's committed to that time when the time comes, so it all ends up working out for us, so.
Now, you and the guys in the band, have you played with any of these guys before in any of your other bands over the years, or?
Me and Billy, we knew each other from back in the day. Like, he was in a band called Alter. I was in a band called Cyanide. We played a lot of shows together, and, we ran into each other. I believe it was like at an Ozfest or something like that, and we started talking, he was like, so what have you been listening to? And I'm like throwing out names like Paradise Lost, My Dying Bride, the European, the Doom stuff, that comes from the old Sabbath stuff. He's like, dude, I'm listening to the same thing. So we said, let's try and get something together. We did. I mean, we've been through a lot of different lineups since then. I mean, our drummer Jesse, he's an original member. We went a couple different directions. You had doom metal, but we did gothic metal. We had a girl. We had a male-female vocal thing. We had a violin player. We had a keyboard player. But I think right now we finally found where we need to be, so to speak.
I was going to say, I thought like early on you had like a violinist or something like going on.
Yes, we did. It was just we had. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's like something that's like becoming more and more in metal is like stringed instruments like that, like violin or a cello or something.
I think a lot of the bands, especially in Europe, tend to come from like a classical background and want to incorporate like some of the classical stuff in there. And like that's a perfect example. I mean, they had the death metal vocal and stuff like that, but My Dying Bride with the keyboards, the violin, the orchestration, at that time it really caught our ear. And it's just something like nobody else is doing this. We're into it. Can we find people that want to do it? That was always the big question. And we started out that way. And then we got thrown into the gothic metal thing. And it was somewhere maybe we weren't sure we wanted to go in that direction. So now, eventually it all changed.
Well, like I was saying, you've been around the block, shall we say?
Yeah.
You've been belting it out for years. So you've kind of got to experience, the old school way when we were growing up where we were chasing the dream and there was no internet. There was still albums and records and vinyl and cassettes and then the CD, and now it's all digital. So it's like a whole new world now. Being somebody that's been on both sides of the fence, which do you prefer more?
Well, back in the day, I mean, I always enjoyed, going to the record store. You'd always find somebody there. And I'm sure you remember, like, the balcony down 69th Street.
Absolutely. I was there every day.
You would go down there, a couple of guys would work, and you'd talk music. You'd, finger through a couple albums. Hey, this looks pretty cool. I always enjoyed that. I always enjoyed, like, trading tapes, the zines, going to shows, handing out flyers. And I guess, to me, I kind of liked that because it was more personal. Where on the internet, like right before I came on, I was promoting the album that's coming out next week. So, I sat there and pulled up my, how many sites that I needed to post the flyer on. I just clicked away. There was just like nothing to it. I'm, yawn.
Right.
I mean, it gets you out to a lot more people, but it also gets a million other bands out to a lot more people.
Right.
And, you only have so much time to listen to stuff. So I kind of prefer the old way, to be honest. And if you could go back that way, I would,
It's funny because I kind of say that to myself, too. Like, what you just said there, there's only enough time to listen to so much. Like like nowadays, with everybody being able to do things themselves, whether it's be the self-promotion or self-recording, and there's so many great bands out there that you're discovering, but it's like there's not enough time in the day to listen to them all.
Exactly. I mean, my listening time is probably my 45-minute drive into Conshohocken and my 45-minute drive home. So I'm trying to get, as much as I can listening, but, for some reason, like today, I always go back. What am I listening to today? Today I'm listening to Kiss, Hotter Than Hell.
Right.
It always ends up going back to, the stuff I'm used to listening to, I guess.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It always goes back to that stuff, from when we were younger. And I guess that's why classic rock will never die, because it's that revolving circle where the stuff now from the 80s and even the 90s is considered classic rock.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it at the Wells Fargo, the Quiet Riot thing. I mean, look at the crowd that was there. Yeah, there were people bringing their kids and stuff, but that was the scene, I guess, back in the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I did. Like, I brought my daughters, and like last week we went to the Tony Harnell from TNT. He did another free show up in King of Prussia. So it was outside, acoustic, but where do you get a chance to go see somebody like that for free with Bumblefoot from Guns N' Roses, and you can go out and bring the family, and that's what we did. So, I mean, I've been trying to bring my kids into the music world like that with these little shows here and there.
Right. You need to bring them up right musically.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's bring the rest of the world up right musically. Let's teach them about Season of Mourning. Now, we're going to play the first single. It's called Fade.
Yeah.
Now, the CD comes out. It's called Salvation, and it comes out next week, Tuesday?
It comes out September 17th on, iTunes and Amazon and worldwide, but we did a little promotion where we had 5 FYEs in the area, so, Granite Run Mall, Plymouth Meeting, Neshaminy, Concord Mall, and Broad Street, which got them, I guess, September 3rd, 2 weeks early. So we were kind of around a little promotion to get a little buzz going locally, because as we all know, we got to sell CDs to be able to expand and get out to more stores and stuff like that. So, I mean, you can still pick it up now in those FYEs, but officially the release date is September 17th.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome to have it out in them at, FYEs like that. I saw you were posting pictures, I guess, last week with the CDs in the racks. I mean, that's an awesome sight to see.
It's really cool. Like, but I was saying to someone, I was like, 10 years ago it would have been so much cooler because everybody was going to the stores, But now it is pretty cool. You go on the shelf and it's in the new release, and it was sitting next to Dio in one store, and I was like, oh wow, I'm sitting right next to a Dio CD. That's great.
That's very cool. Definitely very cool. All right, let's check his tune out. It's called Fade. This is Caesar, singer of Season of Mourning. Go to FYE, go online, buy it. I said so.
We stay alive. memory, my final regret. One wish for the dying, leave nothing unsaid. A love to end and age. Hope left for
of Mourning with their single Fade off the upcoming CD Salvation, available worldwide next Tuesday. iTunes, Amazon. You can get it at your local Philadelphia area FYEs. And where else, Caesar?
Toilinc.com. That's the label, Toil Records. It should be on CD, baby. It should be just about anywhere you can look. And, and hopefully that'll expand if this thing sells any.
Now, you guys had this, was it mastered by Joey Vera from Armored Saint?
Yes, from Armored Saint and Fate's Mourning, yes.
How'd that happen?
Oh, it actually goes back a long time ago. Back, I guess I'm thinking it's around '84 because I remember I saw them at a Quiet Riot, and then I saw them at Metallica back at the Tower Theater back then.
I was at
we were
that
all
show.
hanging out. Cool. We were all hanging outside, and we met the Armored Saint guys, and we were talking to them, hanging out with them, and then I actually became better, acquainted with John Bush at the time, the singer. We would meet every now and then. I got into college radio. I had a show. I had, new reps for Metal Blade. I'd go to Armored Saint shows. We'd hang out. I think we actually went to a Flyers game with the Armored Saint guys one time. It was actually pretty cool. So over the time, I would write to John. He would write, back then, before the internet, we'd write letters and stuff. We'd write back and forth. And then as time went on, I got to know Joey pretty good. And I remember they were in town. We'd hang out. We'd do whatever. And then they went on a little bit of a hiatus. But I always kept in contact every now and then with Joey. It's Caesar from Philly. How's it going? What's going on? We'd talk back and forth. So I guess it was December 2011, I went up to Allentown to see Armored Saint, and we were just hanging out the side of the stage, and they're coming on stage, and Joey's running up on the stage. All of a sudden he stops, he turns around, he looks at me, he comes over, oh, what's up? Shakes my hand, how you going? How's it going? So then we started talking back and forth again on Facebook or whatever. I believe it was Facebook. So I just said, hey Joey, how about mastering the Season of Mourning CD? And he's like, sure, dude, no problem.
Wow.
It was just like that. I mean, it was something it wasn't like just some guy that you never talked to asking him to do it. I mean, we talked. I had sent him stuff before, some previous releases. Whenever I'd see him, I gave him a copy of maybe one of the other Season of Mourning CDs. But I figured, as long as we're going to go through all this and put all this money out and go all gung-ho at this, why not ask him? Why not get a name on it?
Right.
Somebody I respect. I've always been a big Armored Saint fan. I've always been a big Fates Warning fan. The guy's a great bass player.
Right. He's like a metal legend.
And he's produced. You see him as a bass player in a band, but he's done a lot of engineering and production behind the scenes. You go to his website and it's the list. He's got this big list of stuff. He's 7 Witches. He's worked some stuff with. Behind the scenes, I think it was with Anthrax. Did some project with Mike Portnoy. It's like he does more than you see right up front. He to me, he's just all around great guy.
Awesome.
All right, Caesar. I can't say enough about it.
Thanks for being on the show. Thanks to Joey Vera for mastering your CD.
Really.
We wish you all the luck with this. Everybody, Tuesday's the date. Season of Mourning, Salvation. Hits iTunes, Amazon. It's already at your Philly area FYE stores. Go out and buy it. And help Caesar buy Flyers tickets.
They already got my money for this year, Bay. Already got it.
Already got it.
Get my credit card every month.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Keep in touch, and I hope you have a lot of success with this.
Thank you very much for having me on.
You're welcome, man. Take care.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right.